Now that I can light up all of the LEDs on the Tug-of-War project here, I want to add more code that allows me to light up a specific LED. To do that, I'm going to create a score variable. And I'm going to set it equal to 3 because I want the LED with an index of 3 to light up. If we look here at our variable, the first item, remember, has an index of 0, then 1, then 2, then 3. The third item, uh, 0, 1, 2, 3. The third item is the middle one, the middle LED. And at the beginning of the game, the players should be tied. The score should be in the middle. So we're going to start out with a score of 3. And then as the score gets higher, that will mean that the right player is winning. And as the score goes lower, that'll mean that the left player is winning. Now I'm going to create a show score function. To do that, I'm going to click below the loop and then hit enter a couple times to give myself a little bit of space between my functions. And then just like I start out the setup and the loop with void, I'm going to start out the show score function with a void. And then I need parentheses just like I do with the setup and the loop. And then I'm going to hit enter and put an opening curly brace. And then I'm going to hit enter again and put a closing curly brace right away. And then I'm going to arrow up and hit enter one more time. And this is where I'm going to put my code in between these two curly braces. This is the beginning of my show score function. This is the end of my show score function. So I can actually just copy this code that I have at the bottom of the loop, and I'm going to modify it just a little bit. In fact, I'm not going to copy it, I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to hit Control X, or if I right click, I can hit cut. And then right here, I'm going to right click and hit paste. Now, the for loop that I'm creating here, I'm going to backspace it twice just so that it lines up like these other lines inside of my function, so I can see that it's indented a little bit inside my show score function. My for loop is going to have multiple lines. This for loop only has one line that follows it. There's only one line that I'm trying to repeat 7 times, so I don't have to have curly braces. But down here, I'm going to have several lines that I want to repeat 7 times. And so I'm going to have to begin my for loop with a curly brace, and I'm going to have to end my for loop with a curly brace. This is the beginning of the for loop, the end of the for loop. The beginning of my show score function, the end of my show score function. A lot of times I see students make mistakes where they're not exactly sure which curly braces are going where, and so I highly recommend you line them up just like I have here. Okay, so I only want to write this pin, whatever pin this is. I only want to make it high if it happens to be the pin that's equal to the score. So I'm going to use another programming construct here that's called an if statement. I'm going to say if, and then the variable that we're iterating through, that we're using in this for loop, that's x. So I'm going to say if x, and then I'm going to say equals. Now, if I have one equal sign, that means set equal to, like up here with score, there's only one equal sign. That means take the number 3 and put it inside the score variable. But down here, I need to have 2 equal signs, just like that. That means is equal to. Set equal, is equal to. If x is equal to score, then I want this to happen. I'm going to indent it to show that this is inside this if statement right here. Now I'm going to hit enter and put else. If this is not true, otherwise I want to do something different, and I'm just going to copy this line again right here all the way to the front, and then I'm going to paste it right here. Make sure that this lines up just right underneath that one so that it's very easy to see that this is inside the else portion of our if statement. I'm going to switch this part to low. That actually turns the LED off. So the first time that this loop is, we go through this loop, the question is going to be if x equals score. If 0, the first time we go through it, if 0 is equal to the score and the score is 3, and the answer is going to be no. So we're going to skip this line and we're going to go to the else, and it's going to take whatever value of x we're at right now, which the first time through it will be 0, and it's going to set it low. It's going to turn that LED off. And then it'll go through it again when x is equal to 1, and when x is equal to 2, and then when x is equal to 3, we're going to actually get a true statement, and this will be the only time it resolves to true. If x, which is 3, equals the score, which is also 3, then it's going to do the first part here, which is write that pin high, turn the LED on. And then when we go to the next iteration of this loop, when x is equal to 4, it'll go ahead and make it low again, and 5 and 6 and so on. Now, we've created this show score function. We've created a tool that we can use, but we're not using it yet. To use it, we're going to have to actually either include it at the bottom of the setup or inside of our loop. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw it at the bottom of our loop here, and let's test it and see if it works. This is how you call a function. Notice when I call the function, I don't have a void in front of it. I'm going to hit Start Simulation, and you can see the middle LED is lit up. Now, I'm going to stop right here and just mention one more error I see fairly often. If you hit the Start Simulation button and nothing happened, there's a good chance that you wrote something incorrectly here. The notation for creating functions is to write void show score, and there's no semicolon right here at the very end, right there. It's only when we call it that we put a semicolon. So if you accidentally put a semicolon here, that might be a problem for you. The same thing with the for condition here, the beginning of a for loop, and the same thing with an if statement. You don't put semicolons at the end of any of those. Let's go ahead and change the score to a different value and make sure that our score function lights up the correct LED. So I'm going to put if the score is equal to 1. Now remember, that should light up the second LED, not the first LED, which has an index of 0. It should light up the second LED, which has an index of 1. I'm going to go ahead and start the simulation. And behold, the second LED, the LED with an index of 1, lights up. I'll try it with a 0. And finally, I'll try it with a 6. Make a quick mental guess in your mind about which LED will light up when I light up LED 6. You might have been thinking it was LED 7, but you got to remember, because arrays are 0 indexed, the last LED has an index of 6. Let's just count them real quick. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once you have tested your show score function and have verified that it's working, it's time to commit your code once again to Bitbucket. Right-click anywhere in the screen and choose Select All, and then Copy, and then go to Bitbucket, and then click Source. And you may be tempted to click on these 3 dots and add file. Do not add a new file. You already have a file. We're going to update it. So click on your existing Tug-o-War project file and edit it. I'm going to click inside of here and right click, select all, and then delete everything. And then I'm going to paste the code that I copied from Tinkercad and commit it. And what did I just do? I just added a show score function. Make sure your commit messages are descriptive so that it's easy to find code down the road in the future. Now, if we look at our commit history, this is our most recent commit, and you can see how it differs a little bit from our previous commit. I'm going to click on this so you can see the entire code. This is the code that was the same. Up here, this is the same. The green lines are the lines that we've added. The red line is one that was deleted. If I click on my commits, I can see this history now. If I wanted to go back to my first version of the code, it's right here. If I want to go to my most recent version, it's right here. As time goes on, we'll have many commits, and it will be very easy to go back and forth and see my progress over time. From now on, every time you work through one of my videos, every time you add some sort of functionality to your program that if you were to lose it, you'd be upset, I expect you to make a commit to Bitbucket. I should see several commits by the time you're done with this project. Like I said before, it's a requirement in order for you to get credit for this assignment if you're in my class. It'll also help you continue working on this project until you finish it. Otherwise, there's a very good chance that you'll get partway through, your code will get so garbled up that there's no way you can continue, and then you'll just give up. And I don't want to see that happen.